Okay, we are back. I'm going to start again as if this is the first time. But I was just live with Growth Coach D. We have something really, really deep. In fact, we were telling you, stop your relationship. Don't get in a relationship right now because, and Growth Coach D has a very important question for you. But y'all, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss that. If you love them, share it because relationships aren't working, and it was revealed to us the reason why relationships are not working. And so thank you. We're back. So no, I have full use of my charge on my phone, so we're good. But I don't know what happened. Instagram said there was something with some connection. And so welcome back those. We want you to tag someone right now. Someone that might be in a relationship, someone not in a relationship that desperately wants one. They can't figure out why, what, how, because they're not supposed to, because we're going to be taught today. What's the question, Growth Coach D?
The question is, and it's coming from this message from PD, Pastor Darius Daniels, so many nuggets of wisdom, but the question is, how does the wounded heart learn to love right?
How does the wounded heart learn to love right? And so there was a lot that he said, but you and I were talking about how when you don't have full use of your heart, how it makes it difficult for you to give and receive. I always tell people love with their capacity to give and receive love. But when that capacity, hey, Sister Dawson, hey, I'm of love.
That's
So,
Warren.
that's Warren. Hi,
Mm-hmm.
Warren. And so when your capacity to love is very small, based on any trauma, anything that your heart has been through,
Mm-hmm.
it sets you up to be in a pool to attract people that are absolutely no good for you. And oftentimes we get into these relationships not having full use of our heart. And if you've never been loved right, that's the part that got me. If you've never been loved right, you don't even know that the other person is withholding anything from you. And if you've never been loved right, how do you emulate that? You can't.
You don't even know if when you're withholding, is what he
You
said.
don't even know when you're withholding. So you really think that the person you're in a relationship with, they're really overreacting by your inability to really show up. But how can you show up? So this whole thing, let's break down full use of your heart. What affects our ability for our heart? Now, Darius Daniels gave this example of his father that was hurt. He and his dad were playing, and his father got hurt, and his finger was hurt, and he didn't go to the doctor. So he thought he was good, and because his finger was no longer in pain, he thought that was synonymous with healing. But he never regained full use of his finger. So everything that he does, he has to fix his life around this pinky
Wait,
finger.
wait for Celeste, because he's old school.
Because he said because he's old school.
That's what
Ooh.
that's what
And
he
old
said.
school says, I'm all right. And how many of us are walking around after being hurt saying, I'm all right, and get into another relationship? Daddy might not have set it up right. Mommy might not have set it up right. Then you get into a relationship and it confirms the not right, but that's what you're familiar with. So you still walk around with that pinky like this, still trying to live life in its fullness, and it's impossible.
Yeah, and he put it this way: just because you aren't in pain doesn't mean you're healed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So being not in physical pain is not synonymous with actually being whole. And so I wanted to bring out a few points. I wanted to ask you, I got the women. I got
Uh-huh.
some of the women because everybody's different. And you got some of the men, and others will kind of be in between.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, from a personal standpoint, not having full use of your heart, because I know that I attracted people that I had to show up to fix them. Somebody says, oh, Warren, some people are scared of embracing healthy. They are. But your heart, when you don't have full use of your heart, not only do you not know what healthy is, you can mistake unhealthy for healthy just by the
Mm.
presentation. You will be more attracted to the picture than the truth.
Those red berries, they look really good, don't they?
Right. And they're poisonous. So now my thing is, one of the things that came up for me, Danny, that
Mm-hmm.
hit me hard with not having full use of your heart from all the hurt you've been through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you don't need to be trying to look for anybody until you find you. And I think most of us, and I'm going to say including me, I haven't had full use of my heart. I can look at the people that I've attracted to know that I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And if a part of my objection is to help you and fix you,
Mm.
then I'm already entering into the relationship. Right. You can finish that sentence. But what do you think about that? Because we all do it. But see, I know so much more about me now.
Mm-hmm.
And after today, this message, and then you and I were talking about it, it has me
Mm-hmm.
like I almost don't have the words for this lie. I have the
Yeah,
heart
I'm.
for the lie, but I
Mm-hmm.
just don't know that I have the words. But
There's so much. It's so much.
it is,
I want to just be transparent because it's Mind Shift Monday.
yeah.
And what's the use of coming on here and acting like we know everything and that we figured everything out? I'll tell you this, as someone who has experienced divorce
Yeah.
unwantedly,
Yeah.
as somebody who has walked down that path and found myself single, and to see that, I turned that part of me off. It's like, oh, I'm not. I'm right here. This is where I am. And now it's when I got to the point where it's like, okay, all right, I'm single now. The natural thing is from early elementary school, you got this hardwired in you. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go find somebody to either
Yep.
love me or
Yep.
to love on. And I remember like it was yesterday, and I was just listening to myself tell this story. I don't know where, but I go back over some of my own material because y'all think I make it for y'all. Mm-mm. Most of the time, what you hear come out of my mouth is something that is for numero uno right here.
Yeah.
There is no plank coming out of my eye. And I'm walking in the grocery store, and I see this fine specimen of beauty walk by. And so it's just like naturally the radar's on. So you know that male radars, and so I proceed to go down the next aisle, see it there, I could arrange. And then a still small voice whispered to me. And he said this. He said, stop looking for somebody else.
Mm.
The person you need to find is yourself.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
And I said, Inga, my goodness gracious. And
You mean she can't complete me?
when we don't have a healthy relationship with ourselves,
Yeah. Yeah.
how when, and why do we think that we can now go outside of ourselves and have it takes a healthy person with a healthy person to create a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
If you're damaged and broken and wounded and distraught and bitter and just, what kind of relationship is that going to result in?
Well, my thing is, so in the relationship that I was in, I attracted a stonewaller. And so when Darius was talking about how you learn how to get along with a broken heart, it's just like, so you don't even see anything wrong with it because
It
you
becomes
don't have
your normal.
it becomes your normal.
Mm-hmm.
So now stonewalling, for those that don't know what stonewalling is, you go to that person, you pour your heart out and you're crying, and the person literally just kind of looks at you and they don't say anything. Right. So that's a stonewaller. They really don't contribute much to the conversation. In fact, they use a lot of the same phrase, I don't know, right? So, but it leaves the other person to create stories, to try to fix, and then the other person just comes along for the ride of whatever the conclusion is. And so that was me. So I asked myself, as you and I talked about this today, so I didn't have full use of my heart. I can go back and look and see how I didn't have full use of my heart and how the relationship itself contributed to more parts of my heart not being in use. Because then when the other person withholds love, then there are certain parts of my heart that go unused yet again. And we know that the heart is a muscle. The emotional heart is a muscle. And whatever is not exercised and used, then what happens to it? So in fact, my love language has changed because of it.
Wait, we got to go back. You said whatever is not exercised and you described the heart as a muscle, and you said whatever isn't exercised and used. Talk like that was too much.
Yeah.
Rewind.
So when it's not, so you get into a relationship. Now, you already don't have full use of your heart, we're finding out. So let's say you have 50% of it. With that 50%, you can do some good stuff, right? But when you have someone that withholds and they can't really appreciate and make an exchange, there are certain parts of your heart you're not going to use on them anymore, because it can't be used in that relationship. It's not only not appreciated, but the other person doesn't know to even like it, love it, entertain it, because they got their own set of issues, right? Where their heart is not in full use. So, but when you don't do it, you might find yourself operating at 20 to 25% of your heart. Not having full use often comes from parents, something that happened before we got into relationships.
Almost always comes from
right?
Those early childhood experiences.
Right. But when we attract out of that brokenness, right, then whatever the person gives us becomes our norm, and we enter into what we call the dance with them.
So imagine if you had a less than perfect childhood, which, let me think, that probably sums up
about 100%.
About 100%, in whatever area where there was a deficiency, you're now predisposed.
Yeah.
Like this is the sickness that you'll likely carry throughout the course of your life, unless you learn how to rewrite your narrative, unless you learn how to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, unless you do the deep soul work.
You got to do the deep, because we're talking about Bible believers that never have full use of their heart because of things like, I'm always right, or the other person needs. So we focus on the other person. We create a lot of stories. I determined today, after listening to that message and after you and I had a discussion about it, I want full use of my heart. In a minute, let's transition to finding out how we can do that, because I'm going to tell you, I don't want to talk to nobody else until, right? I don't want it. There's so much that I wish I could just go back and allow the Lord to really fill me up, fill my heart up. So again, if you're just joining, we want you to know you probably don't, just to sum it up, you probably don't have full use of your heart. And if you don't have full use of your heart, you're not at your capacity to engage in or have a healthy relationship, which means you're a virgin, okay? You're an emotional and probably a physical virgin, but that's a whole nother lie, because a lot of people have never really done it. They think they did it, but when you do it without your full capacity of your heart and your spirit like God designed, then you're
come on in here.
Yeah. So
you better drop that knowledge. You dropping.
I just dropped my water too. I did, literally. But I'm just saying, I want full use of my heart. How would my children benefit from me? Like, talk to me, Danny. Talk to me. Like, what? I know you can't really answer this question, But what would happen if you, and I know you don't represent all men,
Mm-hmm.
full use of your heart?
There would be so much brokenness, Rivers.
Mm.
And I was thinking, I was reflecting because I'm in the middle of this book, and I'm almost certain that Pastor Darius is using this as a framework. It's a book. It's called The Bait of Satan by John Bevere. The Bait of Satan. And I was sharing it with you. I'm in the middle of it. My dad shared it with me, and the premise of it that I've gathered so far is that one of the primary ways that the enemy is able to gain access to our supercomputer is
Yeah, yeah.
offended. Somebody does something to you, and it may think to all of the villains in your favorite movies. Like, think about the people who you know just ain't right, who just like, you know, something happened to them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
nobody just comes out the womb evil. Like, something happens when you go to the pet shelter and there's an animal that's a little aggressive. Why is that little puppy, like, why is he nipping at you? Because he probably hasn't been loved right.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what love looks like. And
Yes.
so if a puppy who can't speak and talk and understand language is going to have those aversions, how much more do we as humans, like, we really need to get healed.
Yeah, we do.
We really need,
We
we've
do.
got to prioritize the deep soul healing. And I just want to encourage everyone. I try to say this every time. This is Mind Shift Monday,
Yes, yeah.
because we have the power. We have
Yes.
incredible, infinite power
That's right.
to
Right.
shift our thoughts
Yeah, yeah.
and change every aspect of our lives.
And you can't do it in denial.
Come on.
You can't do it in denial. For those of you that want a relationship that makes you pinch yourself every morning, you can't do it having only a part of your heart
Mm.
at capacity. You don't
Mm.
have full use of your heart. And if you are still offended and easily offended or creating stories, like I had someone today sent me a text message, and you guys know what I've been going through. That's why I haven't been on live, because my mom passed and we're not going to talk about it today. I am doing pretty well. I have great support. But because I didn't respond in time, there was a story created that I didn't want to talk to the person. And it's just like, no. So many people don't have full use of their heart, that they're misinterpreting small things that cause them offense.
Mm.
Even when the intention is not there to offend. So I just say to everybody on here, just accept that you don't have full use of your heart and ask, what do I need to do to get full use of my heart so that I can be at peace when I'm alone, and I can create peace when I'm building a relationship. You know, it's
Yeah.
can you imagine a relationship with two people that have full use of their hearts, Danny?
That's good right there. That's better than sweet potato pie on
What?
Thanksgiving. Like, I'm just trying to
When
tell you
I say
that.
what, it's that look across the room and go, you know what I'm saying? It's like the spiritual connection
Mm-hmm.
between two people when they get 100 years old and they can't physically do anything.
Don't sleep on 100-year-old people now.
Don't sleep on 100-year-old, because they
Don't
might
sleep.
they might they
I
might
know
have
I
some
know
stuff
some
up there.
old people that be telling me like stuff I don't want to
Oh, well,
know.
my mom was almost 86 and she was still telling me stuff. I'm like, Ma, TMI, that's my daddy,
Just
TMI,
trying to tell
TMI.
you. I'm just trying to
So
tell you.
so I am saying though that looking across the room from somebody when you're spiritually connected, but your heart not being at full use, it interrupts the spiritual connection on another level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm saying to everybody on here, if you are thinking about getting in a relationship, don't. If you are scheduled to get married in 6 months, don't. I know that sounds crazy because I'm just telling you, the odds are against you if you don't get full use of your heart. Full use of your heart can make you go into that relationship differently or make you stop it and let him go off and be with who he's supposed to be with or her. Save yourself some time. Full use
I think that's
of your,
hard. That's hard, Celeste, because
I know that's hard,
we
but if
we
they know
we
if they
we
know what I
lonely
know,
out here. We lonely. We need somebody. You know, a house is not a home when there's no one there to hold you tight. It's just
but
like,
guess what?
uh, come on, tell the truth.
I did something years ago called rheumatism.
Mm.
ROOMATISM. That's when two people get married, and after they've been married for a while, yep. And rheumatism carries you lonelier than you were if you were alone, because at least when you're alone, you don't have the expectation that someone will show up and be dot dot dot. But when you're in a relationship, you have the expectation that they can and will show up and be dot dot dot.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than, and the Bible even talks about this. A married woman who's unloved. You know, married people who feel alone. That's it's like Jesus walking up to the fig tree that had leaves on it. It's just like there's no. What are you even here for?
Yeah.
And
And a
um,
lot of people are in relationships where they're like, what are you even here for?
yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody's already in a relationship, we're not telling them to walk the plank. We're not. I hope we're not telling them to walk the plank, Celeste.
No, we're not telling you to
Okay.
divorce, go
Okay.
divorce.
Okay. All right.
We're
Okay.
telling, oh, I'm so glad you cleared that up. No, we would never say that. We are for relationships all day
Mm-hmm.
long. But
Mm-hmm.
in that relationship, you still can do the work to have full use of your heart. Do you know what your relationship can become? What? I was just speaking to the single people for a minute because they're rushing. Like you said, wait a minute, it's lonely out here. That's why I was speaking to the single
Okay.
people. But the married people, even if you attract it wrong, when you get full use of your heart, there's some things that God can do that'll make that thing
And he
beautiful.
will use your marriage to show you where the wound is.
Oh, he's already shown you if your eyes are open. Because that mirror,
Mm-hmm.
when you're married, that's a mirror like, bam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's right there in front of your face, whether you want to see it or not, showing you where the broken parts of your soul are.
Yeah.
Where are you still wounded? Have
Yeah.
you acknowledged that? Have you verbalized it? Have you written it down? Because if you have not, you
Yeah.
cannot heal what hasn't been revealed.
You cannot write that down. We cannot heal what hasn't been revealed. That's right.
And then once you reveal it, then and only then can you begin charting a course to that place that one of my favorite authors, Brene Brown, she calls that wholeheartedness.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedness.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedness.
Yes. Yes. So I don't know about y'all. Anybody, please put in the chat if you want to have full use of your heart. Because imagine your heart is distracted all day long trying to
Mm-hmm.
get whole, but your mind, your conscious mind is so not with it because of the potential hurt that you have to go through to get to it. Or you have to bring up something that you think that was healed, but it's really just that finger that still kind of broke. But and we want you to have it.
Yeah.
This topic touched us on some other
Mm-hmm.
levels. Like it 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 messed me up. I think I can speak for you, Trinette. Absolutely, absolutely. And and we've talked about forgiveness. Amen. I want full use of my heart and trust
Mm-hmm.
the Lord.
Yeah.
Yes. Only
And
by
that doesn't just fall out the sky though. It doesn't just fall out the sky. And I would dare say it is not the in the it is not an automatic result of walking into somebody's counseling office and sitting on their couch.
yeah.
You know, just because you go to therapy don't mean you healed, especially if you go on and you're not telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, if you're not really dealing with the area of brokenness,
Yeah.
if you're running and ducking and hiding, and you got a fig leaf over that area of your life, you know that part that you don't want to talk about, that part right there, that's where we need to go.
Yeah.
You know, where what the absence of that important figure, that parent
Yeah.
was, or what they said or what they did. When if you don't deal with it, my goodness.
And
Yeah.
Emma Love said, "Do you want to be
Come
made whole?" So,
on.
so some people don't want to be, but I'm just going to ask
I,
everybody on here, because sometimes you have to make a decision and then your heart will follow. I'm asking you just to say to God, I'm hoping you believe it. If you don't believe it, He's going to give you some credit.
mm-hmm.
I want to be made whole. I'm telling you guys, I am more whole than I've ever been, and still don't have full use of my heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you're bringing up something that's really, really key and really important. And I see you on therapy is a great part. You know, I'm a big believer in therapy.
I'm
Yes,
not. Now you look.
always.
I'm a whole
But
therapist over here, and I
yeah,
love therapy.
I,
Yeah.
I think the thing that I want to ask you is it possible to have that heart at 100% healed? You know, like in the video games, like you always have your man, you can see his health declining, you know, when he's getting ready to die, you know, like, do we need to be at 100%? Does 99 and a half work? 90%, 80? What's a good metric to gauge the health of your heart?
That's a very, very good question.
To determine
I don't know.
your readiness for another relationship, because we can't be in isolation. Isolation is not the answer.
Isolation is not the answer. It's not good for man to be alone. At the
Yes.
same time, there's so many ways to answer that question. I think you and I both know. One of the ways I think, which we're going to have to talk about on another live, is great peace have they that love my law, and nothing shall offend them. Like, the closer you can get to nothing shall offend me, that can tell you how healthy your heart is.
Yeah.
If you're easily offended, or if you jump to conclusions quickly, if everything is at the end of the sentence is me, you don't love me, you don't like me, then you'll know your heart is. If everything goes back to you, you'll know you are not ready. But you got to be honest with yourself, because you could cause people a lot of hurt, including yourself. And then you can create babies, because it doesn't take much to get them, and you can create babies with that same brokenness. So let's stop that cycle. Let's get full use of our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how
If
would
you feel,
that?
I was just going to add to that, Celeste. If you feel the need to get somebody back by doing something, by saying something, or even by your silence,
Yep.
you're trying to reward them for what it is they've done to you. That's a wound, baby girl. That's a wound, brother man. That's a wound that it needs to be dealt with. Wherever there is that offense,
Yeah.
if you're still, and I said this on another platform, when it comes to my single people that are dating, if you're still hurting, you should be healing, not dating.
Say it again. Can you say that again?
If you're still hurting, the solution is not getting in another relationship. You should be healing and not dating, because that brokenness is going to attract what? Brokenness. And like, it's not going to end well. And this is why I believe the divorce rate is so high, because you got broken people trying to find their better half in somebody else. It's like, get whole first, bro.
Yeah.
Understand the need to be a whole, fully functional, healthy heart, mind, body, spirit person before you go out to try and link yourself, especially permanently, in the covenant of marriage. And so, I don't know. What were you going to say, Celeste?
No, I wasn't going to say anything, but you just made me think about something just now. And then don't be anxious thinking you're going to miss out on something if you don't find it right.
That's hard.
That, yeah, it's like, oh, but what if they just come about now? I promise you, the likelihood of you attracting the exact person for you while you're broken is slim. But if you take 6 months, a year, I promise you, wouldn't you rather spend that time healing and attract who got? Because right now in your brokenness, you will walk right past the one that's for you.
True.
That's why they say, ooh, how did he get with her? Right? Somebody said, amen. After 10 years as a care partner, I detoxed from dating to heal
Mm.
my relationship with God. So grateful I waited in expectation. Yes. Awesome. Casing 7. Love it. Love it. Absolutely. So take the time. I mean, would you want a doctor performing surgery on you if you found out that he did an accelerated course for medical school and he did it real quick, just real quick because he wanted to start being able to do surgery? I mean, come on now. You wouldn't want that. So this person that you join yourself to, you literally are allowing them to have full access to your heart. And that's
Mm.
including breaking it, supporting it, loving it, or performing surgery on it because you are vulnerable at that point. And when you're vulnerable, they become your surgeon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
So Les, in terms of action that people can take, what once we recognize that, you know what, I don't have full use of my heart. You know, I don't know how to relate to people who hurt me well.
Yeah.
What would be the steps that they can take right now to begin the process of healing?
I think you said one of them just a minute ago. I think one of the ones is just accepting, just trust us that you don't have full use of your heart. So I think awareness, anything you're aware of, you can change.
Mm.
Remember? So write it down. Number one, I am willing to be fully aware that I don't have full use of my heart. Okay. Okay. And then I'm just gonna throw out some things. I really want to hear what you have to say because I'm a woman, you're a man.
Mm.
And the other thing is after you make a decision, because we already told you, not because we're God, but because we were raised by imperfect people, and then we attracted out of brokenness from there. Oftentimes, even those of us that I had a really good childhood for the most part. There was some stuff now, but I'm saying but I still attracted out of me needing to fix. That's who I was in my family too. So I walked into that. And so I say, number one, you have to be fully aware of it. And
Mm.
I got some notes here. And number two, if you've never been loved right, like for real, don't expect, don't just understand that you have the potential of falling in love with somebody's picture or their potential. Okay.
Mm.
So those
Say
around
that.
one and two. And then because we give so many people provision and we fall in love with people's potential.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I was like, oh, make me. So what that does, it keeps you around for way too long because you believe that it's possible, but it's up to them. That's out of your circle of control. And then you give them so many chances and they never really fully do it. And then you decide, oh, I've been here for 10 years. I might as well just stay for the other 70 or not. And so I don't know what number. Let me hear your number 1 and 2, and then maybe I'll come up with a third one. But I think if you do those two first, for me, I think you're well on your way. And then we'll give you some other nuggets on some other Mondays, Mind Shift Mondays. What
So
about you,
the
growth coach?
top, very top, we've already said it multiple times, and I can't stress it enough: self-awareness.
Yeah.
Self-awareness. Sometimes we like to think that we're further along than we actually are. And with all due respect, be honest with where you are. Be honest. I'm not, that still hurts.
Yeah.
And it can hurt and you progressively be on that journey of healing.
Yeah.
But you don't want to not acknowledge that,
Yes.
that
Yes.
hurts. You don't want to have this persona, well, he wasn't there, so I mean, it never would affect him. No, that's a wound. Well, if you're not talking to somebody or you have the need to say something along these lines, I'll never forgive them for what they did to me.
Mm.
That right there is a telltale sign that you got some hard work to do. We've got to get to the point. If we're not to that place where we're like, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're acting out of their brokenness.
They are.
If you aren't there, you have work to do.
Yeah.
And you can do the work.
Yeah.
It won't be done all at
It's
once.
not even difficult. It's not
I
even difficult. Like, I enjoyed my journey to walk in love and forgiveness.
I don't know about that. It's not
I
even difficult part. I
did
got you. Go.
what,
You
what
can
I
keep
mean
that
by
one.
I didn't say it was easy. I just said it wasn't difficult. I don't think I don't see it as it wasn't. The reason why it wasn't difficult for me, because I was a willing participant. It's
I
only
wasn't.
difficult. It's only difficult when you go kicking and
I
screaming.
was kicking and screaming.
Oh well, that would
Cause,
be why it's
'cause
difficult.
it's different when people are intentionally doing you dirty.
Well, guess what? It's really I love that you brought that up. Whether they did it intentionally or
Mm-hmm.
unintentionally, it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the receiving end doesn't feel good no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. I got a number 3, I think.
Okay. Take it.
Take the acceptance that I don't have full use of my heart and get an outside objective party, like a good therapist, and take it to them and say, I don't have full use of my heart. And they'll help you break it down and say, okay, where did that, let's look at how your heart got in that condition and what's possible for your heart. Let's get you there. So, because oftentimes you got to go outside of yourself, because when you're so familiar with your brokenness, man, please, you will repeat. It's really hard. Like, I've worked with people that just refuse to forgive because it was the thing they had control over. So they just kept it. It's like, okay.
Can
But
I
that,
say one thing really fast, Les, before I forget it? I'm gonna forget
oh,
it.
right
I
ahead.
need to talk to my
I'm done.
men. I need to talk to the men specifically. Women, if it
Talk to
applies,
them.
the shoe fits, put it on
Okay.
there. Your therapist will only be as effective as your ability to and your willingness to give them access to that part that hurts. Like you have to give the access to the. We have that some doors locked, bolted, chained shut, and we're not going in there. No, we need to go in there.
We need to go. Oh, I
We
love how you said that.
we need to go in
Yes.
there,
Let's
and
do that.
your therapy can only heal. One of the most effective counselors that I ever went to, he opened with this statement. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. He said, if you tell me a lie, I'm going to counsel you a lie.
I love it.
And I said, okay. And I just like, okay, let's get all of the yucky out
Tell me a
because
lie. I will counsel you a lie.
we
I
gotta
love it.
give them access. Get your behind in counseling. Yes, we need it. Find
And
you
I
a
know
good
some people have
therapist.
DM'd me. While I'm not accepting individual clients, I do have coaching programs. Growth Coach D has coaching programs. You can DM and then we can talk from there. And
Mm-hmm.
but you gotta do something. You can't do the same. We're coming up on January 1st again.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You don't have to put
Mm-mm.
in the chat how many of you are going
Do it.
into this January just like you went into the last one. If
Doing the
you're
same
honest with
thing,
yourself,
expecting
thank
different results.
yeah. So let's
This was
let's
gonna
do
be. This was
something
my
different.
year.
Yeah, let's do something different for real.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I know we have to wrap up, but from a very genuine place, this is probably the live where we were almost crying right before. Like, this was such an eye opener for us that we can't even really cover everything that we have like on we took notes. Like, it to think that you guys and us don't have full use of our hearts, it determines everything. Even it's even attached to success, because your relationships are your relationships, but we'll get into that another time. So I just want to say, I'm just, anything you want to say to wrap it up.
Man, honestly, what just dropped in my spirit were these words: Our Father. Not just my Father, that person who hurt me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses, our sins,
Yes.
as we forgive those who have sinned and trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from these chains of evil. Yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I just want to encourage everybody that it may seem impossible, but even that word impossible says right in it, I'm possible. Yes, you can forgive. I know it hurt. I know that you can. And your forgiveness is not based on something that you have for them. It is based on a love that you have for yourself. You setting yourself free from walking around with that ball and chain. Mind shift Monday. Shift your mind. Yes, you can. I need you to start saying it. Put it in the chat if you need to. Yes, I will forgive. You declare it. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You open up your mouth. You type on your finger. I will forgive them.
Yes.
God, help me forgive them.
Yes.
And He will.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah. And it seems like every live we've done just lately, somehow forgiveness or unforgiveness comes back up. And I'll just say this to close out that part. Unforgiveness again is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Like, you can't do it. 90 to 95% of all illness has an emotional root cause. There's a direct link between cancer and unforgiveness. Is really deep. And so we just want to say, accept today that you don't have full use of your heart, and then go ahead and put the steps in order. If you missed anything on this slide, go back and watch it again. And you're welcome.
Let us know what you think
in
the comments.
Know what you think.
What we missed, what it is that whatever contribution you have. Let us know. Questions. Let us know what facets of this topic you need us to go deeper in on. Like, let us know. This is why we're here, to help you shift your mind and change your life.
Yeah. And so we just want y'all to experience this freedom, like that we've done to experience. But today, God revealed that there's so much more, and I'm really ready for it. Like, I could probably cry for like an hour or two. I already got his stuff on my heart anyway with what happened last week. But I'm just saying, it's even outside of it, the idea that there's a place of freedom that I've never experienced.
Woo!
That was planned for me. I want it.
Come on, give it to me.
I want it. I want that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm surrendering myself and my heart. I get that, so I can have full use of my heart.
Lord Jesus.
No brokenness. Like, I know people are like, is that possible?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try, God. How about that?
No brokenness. Lord, help me to love like you.
Help me to love like you and receive love. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Like, I can't.
I know.
We need to get off here. We're gonna be here for another hour.
So let's get off. But y'all, we just want you to. We hope you're sitting somewhere saying, "Oh, I want that too." Like, we have done I don't even call them jobs. We have done what we came to do just by you just holding onto the edge of your seat, saying, "I want that too." Somebody put in the comments, "I want that too."
I want that. Freedom. That's freedom.
That's freedom. That's freedom.
No longer bound.
Yep. All right. Well, very good. So this concludes our Mind Shift Monday. Unless you have something else you want to say, go back and watch it. This time, take notes. And then we're going to help you guys so that your heart can be free. So thank you so much for joining us again. We are here every Monday at 6 p.m. And we want you to share this. We love for you to like it. We want you to live it. So share it, live it, and come back. And we'll see you next Monday at 6 p.m.